In the industrial outskirts of Detroit, massive brick warehouses held thousands of gray aluminum slabs stacked high under dim lights. Outside these facilities, long lines of heavy trucks waited idling for hours, unable to load the raw metal resting just yards away behind locked iron doors. This was not an ordinary shipping delay or an unexpected winter storm blocking the highway. It was a deliberate bottleneck, a calculated gridlock designed to keep metal trapped inside warehouses for as long as humanly possible. Every single day, those heavy metal slabs sat stationary on the warehouse concrete floor, a daily rental bill accrued against their owners. The longer the wait time grew, the higher the ultimate cost rose for any business needing actual physical metal delivered to its manufacturing plant. What appeared to be a simple logistical jam in Michigan was actually an invisible financial pump, pulling cash directly out of industrial factories and channeling it straight into the balance sheets of Wall Street firms. The origin of this engineered logjam traces back to 2010, when financial powerhouse Goldman Sachs purchased a massive physical warehouse network named Metro International Trade Services. By acquiring these vast metal storage facilities across North America and Europe, the investment bank gained direct operational control over the physical pipeline of global aluminum. They did not buy these warehouses to become simple logistics managers. They bought them to master and monetize the official rules governing physical commodity storage. Under the regulations maintained by the London Metal Exchange, known throughout the commercial world as the LME, warehouse operators were required to ship out only a tiny fixed minimum amount of metal each day. Because this mandatory payout limit was set extraordinarily low compared to total storage capacity, a massive physical pileup quickly formed in Detroit. Commercial buyers who fully owned the metal were told they had to stand in a line that stretched from months into years just to pull their raw materials off the warehouse floor. To keep the exit line moving slowly enough to trigger maximum payout storage fees, workers constantly shuffled huge stacks of metal between separate regional facilities. Heavy forklifts lifted tons of aluminum off one floor, loaded them onto flatbed trucks, and drove them down the street to another warehouse owned by the exact same parent firm. This endless round-robin shuttle loop reset official paperwork, kept the administrative queue long, and satisfied minimum output rules without delivering actual metal to paying buyers. This endless local truck shuttle created a highly profitable illusion of busy industrial activity while ensuring the real queue of waiting commercial customers never shortened. Daily storage rent continued to accrue every 24 hours, turning stagnant metal into a reliable, high-yield stream of passive cash flow. The longer the delivery delay stretched, the more valuable immediate physical access became, creating a massive price gap across the global aluminum trade. For ordinary companies relying on physical raw materials, this engineered slowdown created immediate financial hardship. Major beverage packaging makers and global car manufacturers needed steady aluminum shipments every day to manufacture soda cans and automotive body frames. As waiting times dragged past 16 months, these factories were forced to pay heavy physical premiums on top of standard exchange rates just to secure immediate metal, passing those inflated costs straight down to consumers buying daily goods. Even while global smelting plants were producing abundant raw material and regional storage buildings were bursting at the seams, the cost to obtain physical aluminum surged to record highs. Basic market balance was completely broken. Massive supply existed in reality,
yet severe artificial scarcity dominated the spot market because physical inventory was held captive behind locked gates and artificial regulatory queue rules. The financial architecture behind this maneuver converted physical supply chains into powerful shadow banking mechanisms. Instead of relying on traditional buy and sell trading profits, the strategy transformed stationary piles of metal into income-generating assets that harvested money through forced delay charges. Capital was extracted not by building goods or improving logistics, but by systematically choking the physical movement of essential commodities through international trade networks. Trade logs and internal financial filings revealed a dramatic split between electronic paper futures contracts and actual physical delivery pricing. The official spot price listed on trading screens reflected cheap global supply, but the true cost paid by factories at the loading dock included giant extra fees driven by the Detroit bottleneck.
The paper trail exposed a rigged market where financial trading desks and physical reality had drifted completely apart. Commercial buyers quickly recognized that the baseline benchmark prices quoted on the London Metal Exchange no longer reflected real market conditions. The global physical market had been distorted to benefit the institutional players who owned the warehouse keys. American factory managers found themselves standing helpless, paying millions in forced surcharges while watching their purchased materials sit untouched behind security fences in Michigan. To ensure the massive aluminum pile remained locked inside Detroit, warehouse operators created financial incentive packages for raw metal producers. Aluminum smelters were offered lucrative cash bonuses and rebates to ship their newly refined metal directly into Metro International Trade Services facilities rather than sending it to manufacturing plants. This cash incentive guaranteed that total inventory inside the warehouse stayed gigantic, ensuring the exit line stayed packed for years into the future. The money generated through this queue strategy was immense and highly predictable. Millions of dollars in continuous storage fees poured into bank-owned warehouse accounts every single month. Because the physical exit bottleneck created a guaranteed multi-year backlog, financial firms could project incoming rental yield years in advance, treating trapped commercial metal like a high-yield annuity harvested off the clock. Out on the shop floor, the ripple effects of this financial squeeze inflicted tangible economic damage. Middle-market manufacturing companies faced mounting debt loads and shrinking profit margins as they absorbed inflated physical premiums. Industrial facilities halted expansions and trimmed payrolls because they could not afford the distorted prices of basic raw metal, proving that financial engineering and commodity storage carries severe real-world consequences for ordinary workers. For years, government oversight bodies and commodity exchange directors failed to intervene against the obvious market breakdown. Because the warehouse managers operated within the precise technical limits of the LME rulebook, regulatory agencies treated the artificial gridlock as legal compliance rather than predatory market manipulation. This regulatory inaction allowed the lucrative storage loop to run untouched year after year. At the peak of the gridlock, the physical waiting period to withdraw aluminum from Detroit facilities extended beyond 500 days. A manufacturing firm placing an order in early spring could not take physical possession of its metal until late the following year. The engineered bottleneck had successfully severed the fundamental economic relationship between immediate supply and industrial demand, transforming a basic industrial metal into a captive financial engine. Institutional trading desks exploited this predictable queue timeline to construct lucrative risk-free trade structures. By knowing exact warehouse withdrawal rates and storage costs years into the future, sophisticated traders locked in profits through derivative contracts, blending physical storage fees with financial hedges to extract risk-free yields, while end-user industries bore the full financial weight of the scheme. The system finally began to unravel under intense public scrutiny and aggressive regulatory investigations. High-profile journalism and detailed congressional hearings dragged the hidden inner workings of the Detroit warehouse gridlock into the light. Subpoenaed emails, internal trade records, and formal testimony from desperate corporate executives provided undeniable proof that physical logistics had been systematically weaponized for financial profit. Faced with public outrage, threat of antitrust lawsuits, and political pressure, the London Metal Exchange was forced to overhaul its core operational regulations. New rules mandated that warehouses maintaining long delivery lines were required to ship out dramatically larger daily volumes of metal than they accepted,
directly striking down the queuing strategy that had locked up physical supply for years. In the wake of tighter regulations and mounting legal liabilities, major financial institutions initiated a rapid retreat from physical commodity management. Goldman Sachs eventually divested its ownership in Metro International Trade Services, bringing an end to a controversial chapter where global investment banks directly controlled the physical warehouses and storage networks of essential industrial metals. The saga of LME warehouse queuing revealed a profound vulnerability in modern global commerce. It exposed how sophisticated market participants can weaponize regulatory fine print and physical distribution choke points to extract economic rent from vital industrial supply chains.
When critical trading infrastructure is controlled by financial institutions, real production lines can be turned into private toll roads. Ultimately, the legacy of the Detroit aluminum bottleneck stands as a stark lesson in market design and systemic oversight. When financial regulations incentivize systemic delay rather than efficient physical movement, the broader economy absorbs the hidden damage. The true cost of manipulated market plumbing trickles down through every supply chain paid by ordinary consumers in every beverage can, vehicle, and building material sold around the world.